Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Michael. I am completing my 4th year of medical school and will be going into emergency medicine. But today, I wanted to give you guys a few of my favorite options when it comes down to footwear working in a hospital. So like I said, I'm going into emergency medicine, and so footwear is kind of a big deal in the ER because you're constantly on your feet, you're running to codes, you're running to different parts of the hospital, as well as to the various rooms within your emergency department. And I'm not gonna lie, we love to look good in the ER. And so the options that I have today not only look good, but they are actually very functional and they are very comfortable as well. And then just for size reference, I am 6 feet tall and I wear about a 10.5 shoe. For most shoes, as far as Nikes, I wear about an 11. So usually it's about a half size up for Nikes. But we're not talking about Nikes. I just wanted to give you guys some context because we will be talking about sizing with these different shoes. And so guys, I plan on showing you guys each of the shoes. I put on a nice new pair of scrubs that Jaanuu was so nice enough to send me to give you guys a better idea of what the shoes look like in scrubs. But just a quick plug, if you guys are in the market for some new scrubs, I've never worn Jaanuu scrubs. I'm wearing them now. They are super nice, super comfortable. They're super soft. They're nice and stretchy. Really not too much to complain about when it comes down to the Jaanuu scrubs. So if you guys are interested in a pair of Jaanuu scrubs, you can find their link and a discount code down in the description below. And stay tuned for my full review of the Jaanuu scrubs in a future video. All right, so the first shoe I want to talk about is the Stegmann Clogs men's sport clog. Kind of a mouthful. It's their leather clog. So on the top, you got this really soft leather, you guys. These clogs don't really need a lot to break in. This is a high quality leather, and that's essentially what they pride themselves on. Now, compared to Birkenstocks, which a lot of you guys are familiar with, and we're gonna be talking about later on in the video, this leather is a lot softer than Birkenstocks. And so a lot of people talk about having to break in Birkenstocks. These shoes really don't need much to break in. And as you guys can see, I got the rubber sole. They do come in a cork bottom. So if you like the cork bottom look, they do have shoes with that type of bottom. I just simply went with a rubber sole because I think it's a little bit more comfortable. And with me having to walk a lot in the emergency department, I just think these are a better fit for me. I also think that the rubber sole gives a nice cushion compared to the cork sole. And so that's simply a personal preference of mine. And as you guys can see, they still look really good. And then one nice touch is this little lining. It has a little bit of a design. They are little S's, I'm assuming for Stegmann, but it does give it a nice little touch. Now, as far as the inside, it's a nice felt sole. So it's very cushiony. It's very supportive. I don't have any complaints. As far as arch support, I feel like my foot is really well supported. The other nice thing about this shoe is right here in this midsection, it feels like the shoe is really hugging my foot gently. It's not overbearing, but I like it because I feel like with other kind of slip-on type of shoes, your foot has a tendency to really slip out of them. And these really do a nice job of keeping your foot inside without being too constricting. The other nice part about this shoe is the toe box. So the toe box really mimics the shape of the foot really well. So you're not gonna get like scrunched up toes in there. And because it is such a nice soft leather, these shoes will expand with use. So if it feels a little bit snug at first, don't worry about that because they will loosen up over time. Now, as far as sizing goes, like I said, I wear a 10.5. I ordered a 10.5 and I think they fit very true to size. So I really wouldn't adjust your sizing for this particular shoe. And if you guys are interested in any of the shoes that I showed today, there will be links down in the description where you guys can go and purchase your own. So my overall comments of the Stegmann Clog is that they're very supportive, they're very comfortable to wear, they don't slide off of your foot, and they're overall just a really well-made shoe. All right, so moving on to our next shoe, which is the Birkenstock Boston Clog, which a lot of you guys are familiar with. This is a shoe that is very popular right now. A lot of people are wearing this in the hospital, in the emergency department. It looks good, so I don't blame you guys for liking this shoe. As far as my personal preference, it's been very difficult to break in this shoe. It has a thicker leather, and it almost feels like a pleather, like almost like a plasticky thick leather compared to the Stegmann. The Stegmann is very soft and pliable, and this one takes a bit of time to really break in. As you guys can see, the inside is completely cork, so there's no felt lining like you saw in the Stegmann. And then the bottom does have a rubber sole, but you are standing on cork. So the cork does break in with time, and a lot of people say that it becomes very comfortable, but it is important to note that it takes a long time to get to that point of comfortability. Another really great thing about this shoe is they last a long time. They're made with really good high quality materials, and at least on my version, it has a buckle that will allow you to tighten this midfoot portion. The one negative that I have personally is this top portion doesn't bend really well with my foot. And so I get a little bit of pain on the top of my foot, surprisingly. And it feels like that little nerve that runs on the top of your foot kind of gets a little bit irritated and kind of rolls over some of those foot bones. So it's a very like irritating feeling, but it's weird because it's only on my right foot. So I would say that this is a very uncommon problem to have with Birkenstocks. So by no means don't not get some Birkenstocks because of that. As you guys can see, the toe box is really wide in Birkenstocks. So if you do have a wide foot, this may be a great shoe for you. But like I said, with the Stegmanns, the toe box on the Stegmanns is slightly smaller, but with that soft leather, it will really form nicely to your foot within just a few wears. But if you do have a really wide foot, then you may want to just consider a pair of Birkenstocks. Now, the main thing with Birkenstocks is, like I mentioned, wearing them in. And so you really got to get your foot kind of imprinted into this cork bottom in order for it to start to feel comfortable and to prevent it from slipping off of your foot. Now, I wear a size 10.5. Like I said, I got a size 10.5 or 44 European, and those fit perfectly fine. Your heel should really go almost to the very back of Birkenstocks. You should just have a few millimeters of space between your heel and the back portion of the shoe. As far as comfortability for Birkenstocks, I don't think they're the most comfortable, but I am also weird and have maybe just a weird foot. But I've heard from a ton of people that they are very comfortable. Maybe I just haven't broken mine in completely yet. But I would, at this point, say Stegmann's definitely trump Birkenstocks in the comfortability department. So my final thoughts on the Birkenstock Boston is they have a wide toe box. So if you have a wide foot, they're going to be excellent for you. They look really good no matter what you're really wearing in the hospital, whether they're jogger scrubs or regular scrubs. They even look great with just casual clothing as well. And my only con is they are a little bit difficult to break in and start to feel comfortable. So if you want something immediately ready to use right now, then I would definitely go with the Stegmann. All right, last but not least is the Calzuro Clog. This is a clog that I have been seeing more and more as I go around the hospital. Now, I see it a lot more with certain specialties like OBGYN and surgery. It makes sense because the outer sole is a nice soft rubber, so it's easy to clean. And one thing that Calzuro really brags about is you can actually autoclave these and get them completely sterile. So if that's something you're looking for, then you're definitely gonna wanna check out the Calzuro Clog. So if you're in a specialty dealing with a lot of bodily fluids like OB-GYN and surgery, then these are a great option because of how easy you can clean them. Now I wanna point out a few awesome features that come with the Calzuro Clog. And for one, it has this little bit of a heel in the back, which is different from the first two shoes that I showed you. And this is really to help promote good posture. So people who are on their feet a lot, like surgeons, are really gonna benefit from a clog like this because this heel is really gonna promote really good posture and prevent you from having like a lot of low back pain. The other feature I really like are these ventilation holes. Now, the version I have doesn't have holes on the top, but they do sell versions of this clog where you can get holes on the top as well. Now, that's not gonna be great if you're dealing with a lot of bodily fluids, but say you're not, say you're a hospitalist it really doesn't matter at that point because you're not going to be really dealing with a lot of bodily fluids. And so those extra ventilation holes will keep your foot cool throughout the day and honestly just keep your feet from smelling. Now, if you guys have been in a hospital lately, you'll notice that there's a variety of colors that Calzuros come in, from blue, green, purple, black, silver, white, yellow. So they have every color that you guys could want, really making your style and wardrobe possibilities endless, which is especially nice if the hospital or clinic that you guys work at has a dress code where you can only wear one color of scrubs. And so if you guys got a couple pair of these in different colors, it may help working feel a little bit more enjoyable and give you guys a little bit more freedom when it comes down to your wardrobe. Now, quickly, we'll talk about just kind of the inside. You can tell that they have a little bit of like a bumpy texture, which honestly does not feel that bad when it's on your foot. It's not very noticeable, but if this texture does bother you, it is a rubberized texture. It's the same texture of the entire shoe. But if it does bother you, Calzuro also sells inserts that you guys can put in. It's a nice felt, almost like a Dr. Scholl's type of insert. I did try the inserts, and honestly, guys, I would highly recommend getting the inserts. For one, because it makes the shoe a lot more comfortable, and two, it allows your foot to actually slide into the shoe a lot easier. Because when you have your sock on this rubber material, it doesn't really slide as well, which is good, because it prevents your foot from sliding out of the shoe. Now let's talk about the toe box, because we talked about the toe box on the other shoes. This one is much narrower. So if you have a wide foot, I would stay away from this shoe. But for the majority of human beings, your foot is gonna fit just fine in this toe box. And because the shoe is rubber and not leather, it's not really gonna expand too much to your foot. But Calzuro has done a really good job of making the toe box very universal for the majority of feet out there. So for the majority of you, you won't have a problem with getting your foot in and for it to start to feel very comfortable. Now quickly, let's just talk about sizing. So I'm a 10.5. I ordered a 10.5 and they fit very perfectly. Some of you that may be kind of like an in-between size, like in between a half size, you can try going a half a size up and then putting the inserts in, because the inserts actually make the shoe feel a little bit more snug. So if you are considering inserts, just know that the shoe will feel slightly more snug. But really, like the other two shoes, you want to make sure your heel is almost to the very back, just with a few millimeters to spare. And I do want to thank Calzuro for sending me this pair of shoes to show to you guys. But I want to encourage you guys to go to their website and check out some of the other styles of shoe that they have, because this is only one style. And on their website, you'll see a variety of the colors that you guys can choose from as well. And I will have all of the links and discount codes down in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and purchase one of these shoes. As you guys can see, all of the shoes have pros and cons, just like any other shoe that you would purchase. So kind of weigh the pros and cons, what's most important to you. And hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and I hope to see you guys in one of my future videos.